Okay, so in the previous video, we saw how the machine has to just come up with this straight line, and then that will help us to somehow fit the data which has got just one positive y value and one zero y value, because we are going to bend this line to somehow approximate our data. So in this video, let's see how the machine is going to do that. So here I have just shown the bent line, and we are going to calculate our loss with respect to this bent line, because this is what is fitting the data. So the loss has to be with respect to this bent line, and we have to give the information of this loss to the machine so that it manipulates its own line, the straight line, the w and b values of the straight line, such that the straight line is placed in the right way. Here it passes through this point and it is at a specific slope, such that it somehow is able to represent our data when it is bent in this way. So to give some more clarity on that, you can imagine that let's say we're talking about this data point, which has got y equal to 1 right here, the tiny one, and our machine has gone and predicted that value because that lies on the solution. So this is the x that corresponds to the actual data, and for that x the machine has predicted this y, which corresponds to this y value, and this is slightly off from y equal to 1, and the error is actually this distance in this case. Similarly, if you consider this data point, which is actually lying on the x-axis, the machine has predicted this y value because that point lies on the solution, and that is the predicted y, and the actual y is obviously 0 in this case. So the error is this distance. So similarly, if you sum up all of these errors associated with all the points, you will get the total loss associated with our data. And if we find the average loss per data point, and if we ask the machine to reduce that, that is actually the cost. So if we ask the machine to reduce that cost, then the machine will be able to somehow come up with a straight line which, when bent, best fits our data. Now, after all, you have to remember that the machine has to just come up with the w and the b values for that straight line. One more thing to kind of understand is the process by which we bend the line, and we are going to cover that in the next video, where we see how a straight line is bent into this line, and in one of the future videos we are going to dig a little more into this topic of logistic regression.